The inspiration assassination, and how to keep it alive. Inspiration comes into the mind system, proceeds to the emotional brain or solar plexus for safety evaluation. It is flagged unsafe the moment the ego system realizes that the enthusiasm about the inspiration automatically means that it has to let it through to identity, which subsequently means it demands inspired action from the engine centers of the body and, moreover, heart and self-love integration. The real killer for inspiration is the prediction/assumption/expectation as a result of societal norms, stored in memory, that inspiration automatically means you have to be it, identity, and act upon it, which feels like the expectation that you have to cross a wide channel in one jump, leading to passivity and the collapse of inspiration. Let's reframe inspiration. What actually happens? Inspiration enters the mind. Spontaneous, non-linear, non-egoic, no demand, no timeline, no contract. The emotional brain, solar plexus scans it. Not for truth, but for cost. Cost to safety, belonging, regulation. The ego does not fear inspiration itself. This is important. The ego fears the implied contract: if I feel this, I will be expected to become it. Memory steps in, societal norms, past disappointment, pressure narratives, potential must be actualized or you are failing. Prediction is generated in the brain, inspiration leads to identity, leads to required action, which leads to exposure to the outside world, which leads to evaluation, and possible rejection. Which raises the emotional unsafe flag. Not because inspiration is dangerous, but because your system assumes there is no pause button. This is the real killer. Inspiration is interpreted as a demand rather than an invitation. The system believes inspiration equals obligation. And that belief comes almost entirely from performance culture, productivity identity. Worth equals output conditioning. If you know better, you must do better. So the nervous system experiences inspiration as a jump across a wide channel, right now, or else. Freeze is the only sane response. Let's introduce a new definition of inspiration. Inspiration is not a call to action. It is a signal of resonance. That's it. Forget timeline, obligation, and identity demand. Inspiration simply says, this version exists and is compatible with you. Nothing more. The missing step, decoupling inspiration from identity. Here's the crucial separation your system needs. Inspiration does not equal identity. Identity does not equal action. Action does not equal work. Trauma collapses these into one rigid chain. Self-love reintroduces space between them. You can literally say this internally: I am allowed to feel inspired without becoming it. I am allowed to visit a version without moving in. Inspiration does not require performance. This alone often dissolves the unsafe flag. Because the body finally hears, you are not being pushed to perform. Why self-love is essential here, not optional. Self-love is not sentiment. It is permission without demand. The heart center's role is buffering inspiration, protecting it from premature extraction, saying, you don't owe the world your potential. When heart energy is absent, inspiration goes straight from mind to ego, to pressure, to collapse, and to nothing. With heart present, mind impulse leads to inspiration, leading to warm holding, leading to emotional safety, and eventually gradual embodiment. When you are in this bonus or blessing being state, inspiration is allowed to exist without outcome. The body acclimates to the emotional tone. Identity updates organically, not forcefully. Action emerges when readiness is real. This is why inspired action in healthy systems feels obvious, light, almost boring in its simplicity. No heroic leap. No channel jump. Just the next step that doesn't violate safety. Inspiration is not asking you to become something. It is letting you know what is possible when safety catches up. Inspiration is upstream of structure. Expecting structure at the moment of inspiration is category error. Inspiration does not arrive as a business plan, a timeline, a feasibility study, an implementation roadmap. That comes later, if at all. Inspiration arrives as a directional signal, an energetic yes, a felt resonance. Its job is orientation, not execution. Why inspiration seeks expression. Inspiration naturally produces enthusiasm, aliveness, the urge to share. Not to convince. Not to sell. But to externalize energy so it can breathe. Expression is a regulation function, not a performance act. When inspiration isn't expressed, it stagnates, it collapses inward, it turns into pressure or sadness. What actually kills inspiration in social contexts? Inspiration gets shared, the listener responds from executor mode. Next, they evaluate feasibility instead of resonance. And so inspiration is judged prematurely. The inspirer internalizes, I'm irresponsible, unrealistic, naive. This is not feedback. It's a misaligned processing channel between the inspirer, you, and the listener. Listeners in this situation are using left brain filters, survival realism, fear of failure logic, on something that hasn't even asked to become real yet. The trauma imprint this creates, after a few repetitions, the system of the inspirer, you, learns, sharing inspiration equals humiliation, collapse, disappointment. So two protective strategies appear: self-silencing, I'll stop sharing altogether. Over-preparing, I'll only share once it's bulletproof. Both strategies kill inspiration at birth, because they force inspiration to justify itself before it has matured. The missing distinction: this frees everything, here it is, inspiration does not equal proposal. Inspiration is not saying, here is something I will do. It is saying, something is alive in me right now. Most people respond as if a contract was just signed. The reframe that protects inspiration: I am allowed to express inspiration without asking for approval, validation, or feasibility assessment. And more specifically, sharing inspiration is not a request for feedback. It is a form of emotional expression. That alone changes everything. Practical boundary. Before sharing inspiration, silently decide, am I sharing? Or am I asking for help structuring? Or am I seeking collaboration? Most collapses happen because you are sharing. They think you're proposing, neither side names the context. You can even pre-frame it lightly: this is just something alive in me, not a plan. That sentence alone protects the field. Why self-love is the real shield here. Self-love says, I don't need others to carry this correctly yet. It allows inspiration to exist unformed, be messy, be poetic, be incomplete. Without self-love, inspiration gets outsourced too early. And others cannot hold what isn't there. One sentence that sums this whole piece up: inspiration dies when it is treated as a responsibility instead of a resonance. Or even sharper, not all ideas are meant to be executed. Some are meant to be felt, spoken, and trusted. Why this matters? You are a signal-first person. Others are structure-first people. Neither is wrong. But mixing the stages destroys the signal. Your job for yourself as inspirer is to protect inspiration long enough, let structure arrive later, refuse to collapse aliveness into defensiveness. Stay inspired, stay tuned.